Okay, Ian Trottier here for Discussions of Truth. And we're going to go into the alternative medicine angle today. And um, recently you may know that my chronic silver is a product that I've started advertising my website, my pillow, and use the discount code Trottier, 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 to get a significant discount on either one of those products, my chronic silver and or my pillow. And we're going to bring on today Inesa uh, to talk about her hemp product. Inesa Ponomariavaite or Vate. We'll see how she pronounces it. Bring her on right now. She's been standing by for well over 15 minutes. So let's bring Nessa on here right now, as she is very patiently standing by. Here we go. This is a special Sunday edition, folks, of Discussions of Truth. NesasHemp.com is her website.
Hello?
Nesa, Ian Trottier here. Thanks for standing by. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much. How are you?
Fantastic. Great. So you are the proprietor of NesasHemp.com. And, of course, your first time to the program. Tell listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Oh, that's a long, deep question, but I would be very happy to answer. Absolutely. I always see your PhD in results, and we care about people and bringing the truth for anything that we need to use for people. And at this point, I developed a product that has been missing on the market because the product that's on the market right now has nothing to do with the plant. And it's a very tricky way of looking at that because it's really a pharmaceutical version. And most people, most Christians, and everybody who's using CBD hemp related products, they think this is coming from the plant. And sadly, it's just another trick they really did on us to misguide people so they can get what they need to get out of this.
Wow, so it's another ploy by the pharmaceutical companies to capitalize on the organic folks that are looking for alternative medicine. Tell listeners why what you've done with your product. Do you have patents on it? What's the difference? I see on your website you've been written up in the Chicago Journal, Yahoo, Forbes, U.S. Reporter. So you've gotten quite some nice traction here. What are the benefits of your product versus these pharmaceutical products?
So yeah, first of all, we truly represent the product, and we represent exactly what the product has to give for people, which is a lot of healing power. And I always laugh and joke, but it's not a joke anymore. If we had a majority of the people taking these kind of type of products, probably today we would have 80% less of the world issues. And when I say world issues, people say, "What do you mean, Inesa? Like, what kind of issues?" And I'm talking about mental. I'm talking about inflammation. I'm talking about relationships. I mean, this plant, as someone who works with lots of plants as a holistic coach and healer that works with cancer, to help my mother overcome cancer, and myself included, I just know that if he had this plant given to people the way God intended to be, not the majority of the products on the market, today we would have the world in a much better place. So yes, what we have to represent is very different. It's we represent the plant, and the plant's power is heal the people. So what it really does, it goes in your body and finds each of the imbalances and brings balance. But you see, when you really look at the plan, because I did a lot of investigations, and I did these investigations based off, I have to trust which company I'm going to represent for my clients and the people that I work, because they're in very critical conditions. So when I investigated all these companies across America and the world, I realized there is no such thing as CBD in the plant, but the whole market is flooded with CBD products. And I'm like, wow, we have a big problem. And then now I'm realizing that CBD is actually patented as a drug, as an epilepsy drug. So now if it's patented by pharmaceuticals and as an epilepsy drug, that alone tells it is not a natural compound. And then I realized, digging into more science and research, that I did it myself and worked with some quite famous world doctors on the consulting side, I realized, wow, everything what's on the market has nothing to do with the plant. And I realized there is no such thing as CBD. It's a CBDA, CBGA, CBCA, CBNA. All these compounds are original, God's intended to be. There is no such thing as a high THC where people think, I'm going to get high. No, these high THC plants are actually meant to destroy your brain, and that's not how nature intended to be. That's not how God created. These CBD products are causing a lot of issues for people, kidney and liver, and that's not how the God created to be. It's the specific compounds that are made by God, by nature, and it was brought in this universe for us to take it and consume it. And what we have on the market has been getting patented by pharmaceuticals, and people have side effects because it's not a regulated market. So people have side effects, and now they're gonna say, oh my gosh, this plant is not good for you, you guys have all these side effects, we have to take this away, we have to take over control. And what's gonna happen, I hope not, I'm praying for, what can possibly happen is they're gonna say, okay, the plant is not good for you, we're gonna take this away from you guys. Wait a minute. Plant itself is beautiful, but the way you guys are allowing is not regulated to put all these drugs on the market. People have major side effects. People are right now doing research, and the kids are smoking weed, inhaling all these toxic things. Like, this is not how it was meant to be. When Jesus was using this plant 2,000 years ago, first of all, it came from biological soil, had nothing to do with the soil that we have right now. And the second, there was no such thing as CBD. Do you really think that Jesus was extracting CBD oils from solvents and all the harsh chemicals and pesticides and heavy metals and mold? No, absolutely no. So it's a big misunderstanding, and when people have a little bit of a side effect or something, they claiming the plant. No, this is nothing to do with the plant. Plant itself is beautiful, it's healing, doesn't make you high, doesn't make you go crazy, does not destroy your brain cells, and it's actually everything what it's in your body already. So, but the way the industry is doing, and the pharmaceuticals and all the regulations allowing you to do, it's completely disastrous, dangerous, and in my books is deadly. And not all the companies, but a lot of companies. It's a long-term major side effects.
You're talking about patents. Is this being synthetically created by the pharmaceutical companies?
You see, the way they're extracting the plant itself, so the CBD is a dead version of the plant. And that dead version happens only when you kill the plant, and you kill the plant with like a harsh chemicals or like heat. So the plant turns in the second version, and that second version where you can patent because it's no longer really natural. So CBDA, it's the original version, the way it's like a raw spinach, or the way you have a raw vitamin C in lemon. It's the real version of the plant. So I read actually few articles that pharmaceuticals are trying to actually patent CBDA. If that happens, I mean, I don't know, we're going to have a war. Like, I don't know what we're going to do. Like, this is really, really bad news. Because that means that alone will tell you they're having power to control everything of everything, because it's crystal clear. We have a law that you can't patent the nature. So the nature does not represent CBD. That's why pharmaceuticals took CBD route. That's why it's not regulated, because they want them to crash. They want all these companies to come in on the market, create all these major side effects, people having a bad mouth about CBD products, which is, I don't blame it. But no, but that's not how it's supposed to be in the first place. We need to regulate this, and we need to see this is how the plant intend to be, and this is we need to give to the people. Because when I work with all these critical cases, it's not even a critical cases. Even myself, I'm super healthy and super active, and I work a lot, 7 days a week. And someone like me, I can function on my product. It helps me with everything. Absolutely everything. It's only one thing that really helps me with absolutely everything to run my day by day. So it's really a beautiful plant itself, but the way it's brought on the market and they're not regulating on purpose, that is the danger I see personally for the last 5 years.
So your product is officially recognized as an independent laboratory registered with the FDA, DEA, and ISO. Where are you sourcing your living plants to create this extract, this product, the CBDA, which for listeners to understand on the website, it's nesashemp.com. CBDA is 1,000 times more potent than the CBD, according to Nessa's website.
Yeah, so our product, I work, which is not easy. That's another, I don't know how much time we have, but that's another dangerous situation going on. Like a lot of companies, what they do, and I experienced myself, and I had to experience because I was investigating laboratories. I said, okay, let's figure out if these laboratories are reporting the real results on CBD products, like toxicity levels and all these harmful chemicals, right? And majority of laboratories, what they do, if you come positive for like mold or any kind of type of any harmful stuff that can possibly eventually kill people, you pay off the money and the lab is going to change the numbers from positive into negative,
Mhm.
and they're going to publish you as the lab results are perfect. So now I said, okay, I can't trust anybody because one lab did a major mistake on me, and that's the moment where I started investigating everybody. I said, this is a big problem we have, and this specific laboratory is called ACS Laboratories. They are actually FDA registered, DEA and ISO, and they actually, the owner and CEO works with I think Florida governor or some of the people in Florida to really regulate the market based on the highest testing levels, which is a beautiful thing. So this specific laboratory, they actually awarded us to be number one in quality from 8,000 brands that testing across the country with them, and we're the first one basically to receive it's called safety seal test. So everything what we test for is 1,000 times more than any other company, and we have like pages and pages on testing, so when we publish our lab results we have nothing to hide. but in the meanwhile what we're trying to do here, we're trying to say, um, this someone like this laboratory, they losing their customers every month. And I asked them why. They said in Nesa be losing 30-40% of the customers because all these CBD companies come in, they trying to do bare minimum testing, they fail on testing, and they ask the laboratory, can you change the numbers, can you turn it from positive into negative so people don't see what's in the product. And from the moment laboratory says no, we're not going to do that, they said, don't worry about it, we'll go to someone else who's going to do it. So, and they just lose the customers. Can you imagine? Now you would think if somebody has some kind of type of lab results, you would think they're going to be real and positive, like real, something positive look into and recognize the quality. No, you have to really understand if the lab wasn't lying or not. So it's a lot of scam. It's a lot of stuff going on that really broke my heart because I know the plant potential, and yes, we are most certified product on the market. We created a movement that's called Beyond Organic. That means it's above organic levels or above organic certification, because organic certification still allows you to use over 54 chemicals that are completely harmful and dangerous to your body, and it's above that, and it's above what we do and given ourselves, which is parts per billion testing, 17 pages in everything what we do on our product by this specific laboratory that does not cheat and lie to us. And so I'm going above that level by creating biological soil, and multiple other things that are proprietary for our processes.
So Nessa, it sounds like your product is truly organic, where these other products don't necessarily define the word properly. How did you get into this? Tell listeners a little bit about why they should buy your product. And again, folks, you can go to Nesa's Hemp. That's Nesas hemp.com. You can purchase this cold pressed product right now. Tell listeners a little bit about why you got into it, why you support it, and and why they should be incorporating it into their uh, daily lifestyle and health.
That's a great question. As a holistic health expert, as I mentioned, I saved my mother of cancer, and that was the big news to me. She called me and she said she got cancer, and I said that's where my mission really started. I started traveling the world immediately. The same day she called me, she said stage 3, not official stage 4, 17 tumors, and the same day I left the country, which is United States to Lithuania, and I started investigating cancer. And I said, Mom, I will figure out every single thing that there is about cancer. I will help you, and we're gonna help the world to be in a better place. So my mission was really born. Then my mother got cancer, and then yes, I was able to help my mother, and I started simply volunteering and helping people with so many other severe conditions because we rejected chemo and radiation. So what I did, I really started helping people. My name grew really fast in Chicago to the point where I just used to, after 6 p.m. of my work hours, I used to go basically work another full-time job to help people to overcome all kinds of conditions and show them what's the real answer to your body and the health. So, I was able to open my first consulting company because it simply was an impossible volunteer after 6 months. I was just so overbooked. I had to quit my job and to do this full time and start charging people because it was just impossible. But with that being said, I have a huge responsibility because anything I do or touch, plants, herbs, anything that God gave us, I have to really investigate what's behind that bottle, what's behind that water company, what's in that water. I need to test these waters. I need to figure out what's in it. So when I was looking for like a CBD product, because I knew the hemp plant has so much to offer for the human body, from the head to the toes, balance in your body, and I said, wow, I really need to look for and find the best company on the market. So I investigated all these companies. So I started traveling CBD companies and testing their soil, testing their water sources, asking, doing the lab results on their actual official lab results on the top, and all these companies failed. I picked 17 companies across the country, 17 that was rated number one and most representable companies. I worked in all of these people facilities, and they failed.
Incredible. Wow, that's incredible. Okay, so all right, so let's get into that. Let me revisit that question again. How are you sourcing your hemp product? Obviously, you're putting the grower, unless you're growing yourself, through pretty stringent tests. Tell a little bit about the sourcing.
Yeah, the grower wasn't easy to find, first of all, because I literally was when I realized that this whole thing is complete scam. I said, "What am I gonna do now?" Like I was really a little bit shocked, and I had to came back to Chicago and literally started crying for the first couple of days nonstop because I was so devastated to figuring out the truth. So what I did is I went back to the farm fields and I started knocking door by door, and I walked to the farmers and I said, "Listen." I said, I'll show you the way how we need to do the biological soil. I said, we're going to work on this together. We're probably not going to make money for the first couple of years, but we're going to do the best job on the earth. I said, I can't afford to purchase the farmland and farms and all that stuff, but I'm looking for the partner who's willing to do what it takes to bring the best for people. So we can create the first biological soil and to do all these things. And I had to knock a lot of doors because it's like, what do you mean we're not going to get paid? It's like, I said, I don't know when we're going to get paid in the beginning. We're just going to keep working. so I had to cross the country. A lot of farmers cared about money, because I understand everybody has to pay their bills. And I found another crazy farmer who said, yes, it's fine. Whatever we need to do to save humanity, like I'm willing to do these steps. So basically, it took me a couple of years of process to develop the soil and get the soil perfect. So from the moment we got the soil perfect, we knew like, okay, this is where the plants can grow, because it's so critical and crucial that these plants have like a healthy environment to grow so they can express themselves in the healing processes and plants healing processes. So yeah, that's how my biological soil started. A lot of stuff that I do with chemtrails and all that stuff, I don't really tell the people, because technology that I received and I was given by blessing, it's people, they're not even officially walking the earth, like they simply underground. So I cannot share that stuff, but the things we did, it's really, really outstanding with microbes and sky. And we brought, we have a cows that 19 generations no vaccines, so they have a purest genetics that we're using for the soil and things like that. So yeah, it goes above and beyond deep levels, but again, a soil alone, I can talk for an hours and share how beautiful it is. But our plants are very powerful because they grow in that soil, and we harvest them very carefully. What we do, we actually we choose and pick the best people that can come and harvest the plants. We tell the plants that nobody's gonna harm them. Their job is really gonna heal the world. I pray together, so we pray. I pray before we harvest. Plants truly talk to you. It's not even funny, but they really are. And then only if you are a good person and not abuser and not something negative, you are allowed to come to the farm field and touch the plants, because we do all handcrafting. We don't do the machines. We don't do like most farmers do, or like most companies do, like mass productions, machines and heaters and all that stuff. We do all handcrafting. So the handcrafting comes in, and basically we choose carefully people, make sure they're good people. They love the plants. They love people. They never harm the children or women. And yes, that's very careful just for the farming practices. And then we have a technology that we're able, we call it cold press. It's really not a cold press, because cold presses are still releasing a lot of metals in it, in those technology, the way technology is set up. So that never served me, that idea of the cold press. But it is proprietary technology also that we worked with two engineers to develop. I'm working on my third version right now, which is so exciting. And that technology allows us to keep alive plants, basically life, in all the healing compounds, not touched or disturbed by technology or processes. So there's no additives, no harmful things in it, absolutely nothing in it, from biological soil, carefully processed through handcrafting and the processes to the finished bottle. Basically, I do control all the processes myself, so I am hands-on on each of those processes from the seed to the bottle. And our bottles, the same way, they actually protected, and they're very, like, these bottles we ship from Europe, they're not even from United States. Why they're so special? Because they help us to keep the heartbeat of the plant and plant's frequency, because plant has specific frequency in order to heal the person and people's disease or anxiety or any kind of type of issues. And that frequency was kept, the plant's frequency was kept, and these bottles are helping us basically assure the frequency that we be able to maintain through all the processes. And product really works. That's all what I have to say. That's what I said. We are PhD in results, because when people say, oh, I tried a lot of CBDs, doesn't work, I said, don't try others, just try ours, and please let me know. Because we never had someone whose product did not work unless they used the wrong dose. If you mess up the dose, then you might not experience results immediately. But if you're going to get the dose correctly, you're going to see results immediately.
So Nesa, listeners can go to your website, as I mentioned right now, nesashemp.com. They can purchase one of your bottles. How do they take it? Tell listeners about that. How do they incorporate that it into their daily life? A couple drops in a water. How is it taken?
No, you shake the bottle so well, and you take again, based on your dose. Each DNA, each person needs a little bit kind of type of adjustment. So I just can give a little tip that you're gonna feel the product, like you will, if you're gonna take the right dose. If for some reason after a couple days you feel like, oh, I don't know if it's helping me, that means increase the dose. So just the dose is to do half of the dropper under the tongue. Don't touch your saliva, because the product is extremely pure, so we don't want you to pick bacteria from the mouth and put it back to the bottle to grow. So just shake the bottle so well. Tell the cannabinoids we're gonna go work on the body, and put under the tongue, and don't swallow for a minute or so, and then you're welcome to swallow. I suggest not to drink any water afterwards, but if you feel like you really need it, please do. But for better results, I suggest not to do it. So you're going to use twice a day. You're going to put next to the toothbrush. So you always remember every time you brush the teeth, in the morning and at nighttime, unless you need it during the daytime if you have anxiety attack or you have like depression or you have pain or you worked out, like whatever you need. Then you're going to use the third time during the day. But if you don't need the third time, because product usually does stay 12 hours in the bloodstream, so the best case scenario is use it twice a day next, you put next to brush, so you always remember.
Now, I personally have not used Nesa's product, but I have used a I think it's a CBD lotion or something like that. There was no toxic effects as far as getting high or hallucinating or anything like that. And it was a really nice product. As we close out, we'll take about 5 more minutes here, Nessa, and I want you to tell listeners what's the history of the CBDA. How long has this been known as a healer and a medicinal value? How long has that been around to man? And then share with listeners some of the success stories that you've had. You're talking about your mother, it sounds like, and you expand on that.
The history is plant has been around for longer than people, which is us. And the Israeli doctor professor, number one cannabis expert, which is my interviews on COVID alone, went with him. My name and last name, my last name and his last name were together on the same interview, which was on High Times a couple of months ago when COVID came out. Research that CBD helps to possibly prevent from spike proteins entering your body, not CBD, but CBDA. So what happened is, what happened we have, so this specific professor, he's the one who discovered that we have, it's called endocannabinoid system, and we have thousands and tens of thousands these receptors in our body that are the same like in the plant. That means us people and this plant have exact same receptors. So we have receptors to receive this plant. So plant really belongs to us because we already carry the plant in our bodies. We're born with it. We develop the body. So when people say this is not good for you, that means you know good for yourself because you already have in you. But now we have to always have that definition of which plant, which specific product are you talking about. If you're talking all these harmful ones on the market, yes, I believe they're not belonging to your body. But if it's something real and very authentic plant, the way it's intended to be, it's really good for you. So history is that I believe 70s. Before 1970s, this plant was used. It was used for almost every single disease you can possibly name it. And that's our history. And then they decided, say, this is a criminal thing. We're not going to use it. And I believe, don't quote me on that, but I believe pharmaceuticals are the ones, Rockefeller family or somebody from these people blocked and said, we're not going to use it. This is criminal, makes people high because they keep hybriding the plant, which is like creating high THC and stuff like that, that's not how nature made it to be also. So they decided to say this is a criminal thing, we're not going to do it. Before that, it was perfect. It was nothing but one of the top healing powers to heal human body. How is that dangerous for you? I don't think it's dangerous because it's been used for thousands of years as a medicine. It's a natural medicine that has zero harm as long as it's made right, and you already have these endocannabinoids in that system and these receptors in your body, thousands of those. So we can't say, we can't say the plant is not part of us because the science has been showing that we already have it. So it's a big discussion because a lot of people are afraid to take it, real plant. They're just afraid that something is going to happen because, as I told you in the beginning, they want you to think this way. They want a lot of sad cases happening so they can say, you know what, we're not supposed to have it, it's a criminal thing again, let's remove it. We're pharmaceuticals gonna take it over, we're gonna control it, it's gonna be perfect, like you guys don't know what to do in the plant. No, it's all game. So it's really sad. What's the side effects? There is no side effects. The biggest side effect I personally ever seen is people go in the bathroom a lot. in the first couple of days when they use the plant, because it kills all kinds of bacteria, viruses, all parasites in your gut, and you start pooping them out. So people think it's a side effect. No, it's not. You just need to cleanse your gut. You need to cleanse the things been sitting there for hours. How plant is helping people? That's a really good question. I listen stories every single day. It's like a new story. Female reporting is helping them to get pregnant, removes their inflammation. That's well known for inflammation, right? Gentleman just reported a couple days ago for somebody who works as the blue pill, and they said they put it in their balls. I don't know. It's just it's crazy how one product can do it all. I mean, I have a 96-year-old lady, and she was given a couple weeks left to live in Lithuania in the hospital, and they said, "You're going to die." Until today, she was washing the windows. Like she said, she's so active. She left the hospital. They start putting her in Nesa's products immediately. And until today, she's busy cleaning her house. The death is no longer an option. So again, my little doggy, another day, she had major injury in her leg. I applied my oil. She couldn't even walk. I went to the conference, and I came back 3 hours later, and she was walking like nothing happened. So major injuries after surgeries, brain actually works on the brain balance, gut issues, any breast issues, like you name it. Like it's like 400 healing benefits. It's like people has to experience for themselves, like what is going to do for them specifically, because it really goes and finds each of the imbalances in the body and helps you to provide balance. So your balance, let's say, is a little bit different than mine. And for me, let's say I don't have hair issues or hair growth issues, it might help me in my hair growth, or somebody who needs that. So it's really, really hard to tell what is going to do for you, but it's just those major things of sleep, anxiety, pain, inflammation, those the top ones. But then I'm receiving a bunch of other testimonies when people say, "Thank you for saving my life." I just received a message today. Somebody, actually, doctor, without asking a permission, decided to cut his like a little lumps in his gut. She was checking his prostate, doing multiple other things, and she poked his intestine, and he had internal bleeding. He went back to emergency room, and they had to do surgery on him, you name it. The guy is in pain. He's a 50-year-old man. He's in pain. And I told him, I said, put Nesa's in a capsule, stick in your butt, and put internally, use it under the tongue. And she texted me today, thank you for being here on this planet, because the guys, after all this 1 week hell, start feeling and improving within 8 hours on the product. So I don't know. I listen stories every day, so I don't know what to say.
Oh, sounds wonderful.
Our testimonials are real. We don't have one single fake testimonial like most companies do, and you're welcome to read them all. And we have absolutely wild testimonials that people post for us.
Yeah, I'll have to try the product, Nesa. It sounds remarkable. Have you seen a growth in your company since since this virus pandemic started?
I seen a growth in January from the moment. We've always been growing naturally, organically, very beautifully, and I can't complain. Most companies fail by age 3, and we just really taken off. What happened is January 17, it was a news, and it came out from Oregon University saying that CBGA, which is what we have, has been shown on the study and research that helps to basically block receptors that spike proteins enters in your body. So then every news channels called me out, and NBC and you name it, basically for the interview, because there was no CBDA companies on the market besides Nesa's, and now basically all our competitors basically purchase so much product, including some very famous doctors on television every day. So yeah, everybody's trying to copy us since January 17 because they're seeing an opportunity, but they're not going to be able to copy us because it takes 2 years to develop the right soil, and you still have to keep perfecting the soil in order to really plant to be perfect and to grow the plant in the perfect environment. And these people came up with CBDA products within 2 weeks on the market. I have no idea how they did it. So, yes, so it's been a really big growth since January 17. Competitors purchasing the product and consumers for the spike protein purposes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nessa. A wonderful contribution that you're making to society. It sounds like, and as we wind down here, Nessa, I want to thank you for joining the program. You've been very patient, so that listeners understand. Nessa was scheduled to join the program last week. She was going to come on before Cordy Williams. But I had to mix up. We had to mix up there. So she's been standing by for a few days now, and then of course today. So thanks again for your patience, Nessa. Um, some closing comments and closing thoughts that you'd like to leave for listeners. Well, what do you want them outside of visiting your website and getting to know your product, trying your product, getting on your product? What would you like listeners to walk away with? You brought up some really good points here. You've talked about the corruption in the pharmaceutical industry. You've talked about the Rockefeller Foundation, perhaps getting involved in the 70s and squashing the benefits of this product. You talked about chemtrails. You've mentioned that. What do you want listeners to walk away with here, Nessa?
We're living in very difficult times, and not because of Corona, not because of what everything they done for us. I just want to say that someone like myself, I can go really live with finances included. I can live very comfortable life myself, and I choose not to. Why? Because you guys matter to me, but I want the same in return. Like, I can donate Nestle's hemp money all day long for stopping human trafficking and multiple other causes that I do and I care about. I just want people to start caring. Like, please care about your neighbor. Like, let's start listening each other. If somebody even has a different opinion, every time I see I can make the change in the world is by really understanding other person and showing them like it can be different. Like, we need to start really, really caring and getting together, because their job was to separate us, and our job, and especially my job, is to put us back together. So I would say calm down your nerve system and get some Nesa's product. Yes, we'll donate portion of all these funds for the good causes, but I just would like to ask everybody, let's care. When people say what I can do in return for you, Nesa, or I can donate more money for your causes and everything, I said, just care. Just do the same thing to your neighbor, to your housekeeper, to your cleaning lady, to the guy who cuts your grass. Let's show them, let's bring more love. Let's bring more caringness. Like, that's all what I want the world to see and know, and that's all what I care. So that would be my main message, and that let's love each other again.
Absolutely wonderful message there, Nessa. Ladies and gentlemen, Inesa Ponomariavaite. Is that pronounced that right?
Yes.
I got that right?
Yes, you did. Oh,
Close enough, maybe. Yes. Wonderful. I'll stay in touch with you, Nessa, and keep up the good work. Thank you again.
thanks so much. God bless. Bye bye.
I think I think she may have been she may have been somewhat taken back there with the pronunciation. It sounds like I got pretty close. Okay, well, look, this is I personally, folks, I'm just gonna tell you, I've been a skeptic about CBD products. Just certainly have, and it was I guess it was about 5 to 7 months ago that I saw a product in a gas station, and it was a local lotion product. I think it was a hippie type product, and so from an organic standpoint, I just said, "Hey, does this sell well?" And they say, "Oh yeah, it sells like hotcakes." And because we know the owner, we get a discount. So if you buy it anywhere else, it's going to be more expensive. Sometimes double this. I think it's like $20 a jar. Okay, for a small jar of this CBD. I'm not sure if it was CBDA. I'm not sure, but a CBD product, hemp product. And I'll tell you what, it smells great. It's a wonderful product. And I was approached. About Nessa's product here a couple weeks ago, out of from a public relations person out of the South, being that being the state of Texas, and because of the confidence I put in the person who connected me to the individual, I thought, yeah, great. You know what? Let's get this person on air. Let's get them talking about it. And this is the premise. This is the premise of the discussions of truth from day one, 2016, folks. Was basically 5 years ago. Um, I supported the need to get free speech out in the mainstream. And slowly we are doing that. We are becoming mainstream. We are becoming the source because what is considered mainstream, these large mega corporations are not giving Americans what they should be giving. And so the average American now realizes, okay, well, you know what mainstream is the individual voice, is a small guy or small girl, whatever. So anyway, that is the premise, and again to repeat, my book's coming out here in a few weeks. Should be on the presses in a few weeks. Freedom Reserved, No More Lies. Trine Day Publishing. You can get it right now. Books a Million. You can get it. It was on pre-order at Amazon. Just type in Trottier, No More Lies, Trottir. That'll take you to a purchase pre-order link. And so I've got a lot of this stuff. It's basically 5 years of research accumulated in that presentation, in that book. But in that book is the story of how I got involved in this show, this podcast, online talk show, and it was by invitation. I never saw myself doing this. It was simply a void that I was invited to fill. I accepted, and I've been doing it. Been doing it now ever since. It's been over 5 years, coming up at 5.5 years, as a matter of fact. So there we have discussion of truth, and people like Inesa, certainly women like Inesa, that are making a difference to try to bring health and freedom to America uh, is so critical, right? This is so critical. The work that she is doing is so important. So please support her any way you can. And more than ever, obviously, we realize that our freedoms are now encroaching into our own sovereignty, our own personal sovereignty of our human body. I've always been pro-choice, if you will, when it comes to vaccines, and certainly for mask wearing. I believe you cannot mandate those types of things on people. You simply cannot. That is government. That is new. United Nations basically is what it is. UNESCO, United Nations, some of these global organizations. That is them impressing their policies into the United States culture, which they've been doing now for decades. But now it's them getting away with encroachment on your freedoms in the guise of, oh, for your health, Dr. Fauci, who's part of this deep state corruption that I identify in the book. So very critical, very important that you get that information and read about it. And I openly talk about it as well. The deep state is a very real thing. Fake news is a very real thing. And folks, if you do not pass this information forward, then your country will be going away. It simply is. It's right now being dismantled. You have the opportunity to bring it back together. You simply do. You have to cross the political party line. You have to take a Nessa's approach, if you will, and you have to say, okay, no, we've got to unite. And you've got to agree to disagree, right? You got to come to that particular notion. There's no respect. There's no respect anymore. I mean, you've got Nancy Pelosi tearing up the State of the Union speech in front of a international television audience. That is a complete disrespect. Regardless of what political aisle the man represents, that is not how any politician should be treated. It's not really how anybody should be treated, but certainly it's not how the commander in chief and the voice of the free world should be treated. And this is now what 3 or 4 years ago that happened. I'm not sure exactly when it went, but that is an example, folks, of how things are not uniting. Things continue to divide in this country, and I urge you to unite under the freedoms granted to you in the United States Constitution. And I suggest that anybody that does not want to give you those freedoms becomes your enemy. Okay? Now, you can do what you want with that. But I know one thing, and I apologize if that's a very harsh term to say, but I know one thing. I have a constitution, and I will defend that constitution. And again, anybody that does not support that constitution should be classified and labeled a domestic terror. Okay? And I'm not saying that lightly. I'm very serious about that. Now, I'm not saying that constitutional rights can't be amended or the Constitution itself can't be amended. Certainly, the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, there are amendments to this Constitution, to this document. So, and the work that Martin Luther King did, there are great examples of changes that have been made to the Constitution. But those key elements, that be freedom of speech, freedom of press, and freedom of religion, if those are not supported by any organization, by a particular organization or group or politician in this country, I openly call for that entity, whatever it may be, labeled a domestic terror. I don't use that lightly. Okay, so anyway, Inesa, Nesa's Hemp, NESASHEMP.com. Get a bottle today, and folks, until next week, I'm gonna have we're gonna take a religious theme next week, which I typically don't go into religion. I support the freedom of. Obviously, I just said it. So we'll be having a pastor on joining us next week. I thank again Nesa for joining the program, and folks, until next time, be awesome.